What's up, everybody? A Sparrow with a Gun here from Sleepless Nights with another episode on Space Engineers, back again on the Corvette build. So I've actually gone through and removed the weapons at the moment because I'm reconfiguring them to work with an extended situation. Because in the last episode, if you recall, we tried to activate all of them and the chain guns weren't bad, but the missiles were like blowing everything up. So I've modified one of them just to make sure it would work, and essentially what I did was what I originally thought about doing in the first place and opted not to do it, but decided it was best. So what I did was I changed out the conveyor. We had two conveyors here, one here and one here, and then the piston to extend it down one block. But I switched out the first conveyor for a second piston to extend the range that we actually can extend the weapons in general. So with that said, I did have to actually rename these though, because it was getting very confusing as to what was going on. So the first one is the one closest to the ship, and eventually this would all be handled through a timer block. Now, as you can see where it is right now, it ends up essentially going a little bit further. And actually, I do wonder if I would need to extend it any further, or if that would be good enough, because that's actually a little bit lower than what it was at before. Before, it barely looked like it was under the hull, but now it actually looks pretty good. So then the second one, we'll take it down another 2 blocks, I think. Like so. It's a little bit exposed and kind of hanging there, but I did actually eyeball this, and it looks pretty much like it won't interfere with the landing gears. It's not that far down, so that's a good thing. And I think everything else works fine. Now, I do know there is an inherent risk of stacking pistons, like when you're flying and trying to use stuff like that, but I think there's, coupled with the new fixed, what do they call it, some kind of safety lock speed. There you go. So you could actually, if we find that they're twisting off or something, we could actually turn this down, or have the timer block set the safety lock override, so that once they're fully extended, then basically then they're locked, type of thing. You could play around with it as needed. I can also adjust this. I didn't even think about this. Let me try this. I didn't even think to do this. So we're gonna retract the second one, and we're gonna adjust the maximum distance to, let's say, 0.5. and see what that does. So it should come down. There we go, that's pretty good. It comes down just a little bit, but not a lot, so I didn't even think to try that. But that should give us enough clearance that then when you fire the missiles and stuff, it won't actually be a problem. But you could play with the maximum distance to where it could be a little more snug to the hull, but still clear it enough, you know, just kind of a preference thing. So that's pretty cool. So I'm basically going to go through and adjust all the other ones to match this, and then we'll probably come back and do a weapons test and maybe move on. I think that's the last thing we really need to do to the hull on the bottom. I'm pretty sure everything else is basically squared away. So after the weapons test and stuff, I think then we're going to end up moving inward. Why is this floating out here? What are you? What are you doing? Just find random crap. So yeah, I think we're going to end up moving inside and start working on our detail work after that. Okay, so we've got everything set up now. Apparently my character glitches through even the flight seats, but that might be a mod too. I'm not really sure at this point. I've got too many mods. I do wonder if that's actually the source of some of my frame rate issues, is just the amount of mods that's loaded into the world file, and maybe that could be reduced. But anyways, that's a topic for another day. So as you can see, we've got them pretty well set up here. And I've got them set up on a hotbar here to where we have our mat cannon, our different weapons, the fixed weapon pistons and the landing gear pistons to try them out. And there's also an option for the turrets, so I gotta see if I can control those manually or not. I'm not sure what that does. So first of all, you can see the retraction works, and I don't get any shield buckle or anything like that. And at the moment, it's just controlling all of the pistons at once. I am hearing a thud. It looks like the Gatling turret, or Gatling gun area, on the left. Or the ship's right, I guess, actually. But anyways, so for the most part that works. And from the positioning, we could leave the landing gears down. So like if you were landed, you could still extend the weapons. So let's test out the big ones first. Okay. Well, nothing blew up, so that's good. Oh, they're firing both at the same time. Okay, that's why the reload is so long. I got it. Okay, chain guns. They seem to be working okay. Let's go from this view. I like this view better, actually. Okay. Now for the ones back from that. Ooh, those scare me a little bit. Just because they fire so fast. Woo! That's a lot of firepower, actually. I should set up a timer block thing where it's like full barrage and it fires all of them at one time. That would be really cool. Jeez! Those things are ridiculous. Okay. And then the back ones. Okay, so it looks like everything works. Now, again, I don't know how well this will work in terms of movement. Like firing them while moved or while moving or something to that effect. But everything does work, everything retracts, and it's all well and good. Now, for these, what is this doing? Okay, so it doesn't really do anything to select the turrets, so I'm not really sure why you can select those. And then, of course, out the nose, we have our MAC cannon. So overall, between the turrets and the fixed weapons, this thing actually does have quite a bit of power behind its weaponry. The only thing that concerns me is going to end up being the movement, but I don't really want to test that while upside down. I'd rather test that on the full ship kind of thing, the main cockpit and all that. But overall, I think we're going to call it quits on the outside. I think the outside is good. I am actually even going to remove this external control panel because I don't think we need it anymore. So that's really cool. We're actually kind of at a point where we're pretty good to go on our exterior area. I'm still working out some of the logistics for the airlock here. Now, you might have noticed something interesting, or at least I did. And that's... I probably shouldn't have come up this way first. But that's these vents here. So the vents are green, which means they're pressurized. Now, I know this is creative, but when I click the button to leave, they don't change. So it makes me wonder how the airlock for this block actually works, and is it an all-in-one block? Because it very well could be handling everything without letting any air escape. I'm not really sure, to be honest. I guess one of the easiest ways to find that out would be to poke a hole. Okay, so I poked a hole, and now the air's let out. Okay. Come on. When I close that, this seals back up and re-vents. But when I do this, the vent doesn't change. So I'm really thinking this is keeping everything pressurized, and it doesn't actually need a vent system. It's kind of what I'm getting out of that. Which I suppose could change a few things. That could change a few things, actually, for my overall design of the area. That's really interesting. So let me know what you guys think, know, whatever about all of that, because it kind of seems like it's keeping everything sealed. Okay, so the next step is a little bit more in line with the detail work. Whee! Now, is that because the... No, none of these are on. So it must just be that this had stored air. So, here's the bottom line. Let's see, what is this tied into? These are hydrogen, I think? And I have to be honest, I'm not really sure how you create hydrogen in this at the moment. I don't know if it's coming from the oxygen generators or if it's something that you use elsewhere through the refinery or something. I'm not really sure how the means are for getting hydrogen in the actual survival world. But there's a few, I think, finishing touches type things that we need to do. One is iron out exactly how we want this airlock to go. Like I said, this is kind of changing things because it may not need the double airlock system. Not that this works. I mean, we could keep it and it'd be totally fine. And it may be a good idea to not rock the boat too much in that regard. And let's see, this is not vented. Okay, so I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure this is going to be an issue. And by issue, I mean, like, I'll have to come up with a system to where when you click the button, it seals the doors and vents, including that, if that stays pressurized, in order to vent the hallway so that you can open this without blowing all the air out, because I don't think there was... Because that opens to the outside and it doesn't have an airlock system, so that needs to be worked with. This is okay, we just need lighting changes in some other things. I think the biggest thing at this point is lighting, honestly. And maybe just some detail clutter type of thing. But for the most part, I'm pretty sure that all of this really has to do with his detail work at this point, I'm thinking. So here's your access point. I really think we've thought of everything else in terms of making everything kind of squared away. Now let's check. You're the toggle button. Yeah. Let's double check up here, make sure there's nothing that we thought of that we need. I don't think there is. We've got our CIC area and our backup stuff. And our ladder that lets us go up to the bridge, which has all of our cool stuff. Oh, the antenna I do need to find a place for. That's true. That's our exterior vent to pull in air in an atmosphere. That's fine. Our solar panels are on the windows, essentially. Let's just get rid of that. So, I need a beacon. I need... Nope, get off there. I need a beacon. I need a antenna. Or an antenna. And I think, other than that, I think pretty much in terms of functionality, we've kind of got everything pretty squared away. I could put a... Can I put a small beacon back there, maybe? Quite possibly. Okay, so we added the antenna and beacon to the system, but I also did a couple of changes here that I'm playing around with. I did make a backup save just in case I didn't like how it turned out, and I'm on the fence, so I wanted to record it and let you guys tell me what you thought in terms of feedback, but we'll probably end up doing something to redesign this if what we saw was accurate, which it seems to be, that one down at the bottom is all we really need. We could do, open this hallway up a little bit more and wrap like 2 stairways, ramps going down, and then you go to the airlock, you know, things like that. But the biggest issue I was running into was this guy, we had to keep it elevated this high so that we could put the airlock, one of these, or elevators, airlock, whatever, into the ceiling so that we could get to the bridge. So what I basically did is I've got this set up now to where I can open the door and then extend the elevator that I made kind of myself. And so basically we'd end up having to do what we had mentioned before about shortening the interior of the hangar, because this is basically where that would be, and then block this back off because there's basically 3 pistons that stack up on top of each other with the armor panels to make a kind of makeshift elevator that then hides into the floor, which works pretty good. It doesn't seem to be damaging anything or whatever. And with this door here, you actually can move up fine. Now it does come off a little gapped in that you can't really see what's going on, but you can walk off of this in all the directions without issue. So functionally it works, but there may be other ways we could improve this, like using a hatch instead of the instead of this particular door and stuff like that. Something like this, you know, we could have a sealed hatch so that when you're walking over it, it doesn't feel quite so odd as this door. Actually, you know what? Let's give that a shot real quick. Let's actually try that. Hatch no panel. Let's do that. See if see what we come up with. So if we did this, hatch no panel. Now that's the elevator. Let's grab this one. And obviously we'll open it. Now let's see how this works for the elevator. Okay, it allows you to pass through. You can't just walk over it, though. You would have to jump, which is a little inconvenient. But I will say when this is sealed, it would probably look a little bit better, and it would also blend into the already designed decor a little bit. Without as much noticeability, I guess. But so anyways, I'm not even sure if we want to stick with that, but it can be done. We can do some kind of makeshift elevator on our own without using the airlock. The biggest thing with the airlock elevator here, or what is this called? Landing elevator. Okay. So the biggest thing with the landing elevator is that it only goes like 4 blocks down, and with the pistons we can extend how tall it is, which then reduces how tall the floor has to be for us to still be able to get up there. I'm not as big of a fan of this causing us not to be able to just walk out. What I was actually hoping I could do is maybe do this in blast blocks for the added collision padding, basically, and have this just become the floor when it's extended, but then I'm not really sure what to do with this when it's not extended type of thing. So there's a lot we could do with it in terms of the custom type of thing. There's a few different things we could do. But anyways, it's kind of one of those, I'd like to hear everyone's opinion on that, because that's kind of a big change. And it could take us into quite a few other changes where otherwise we're kind of close to being done if we don't decide to tamper with any of this stuff. I'm just looking to optimize is all. That we've got an airlock elevator here that is kind of inconvenient. We've got a double airlock here that if our information on the vents are accurate, this really is unnecessary and redundant. So it's kind of one of those, could I optimize it, maybe do something a little cooler and more streamlined, like this, where the elevator's just hidden in the floor or something, as opposed to doing something, you know, that's a little bit more cumbersome. So, with that in mind, I think we're going to wrap things up here for this episode. We got our weapon systems finally fixed, and the outside is done. So now we're moving on to finalizing the airlock bridge system type of thing. I did manage to I turned it off, but the beacon is now behind the gravity generator, and I replaced the auxiliary generator. and the antenna is now over here, just kind of tucked away amongst the control panels. I figured it would be one of those, activate the beacon and you turn over and click the little keypad here and it would like turn on your antennas and stuff. So I figured that'd be a good spot for it. But honestly, other than that, I think we're pretty close to good. So here's my roadmap. Assuming we tamper with this at all, I'll give myself an episode at least to iron out what I'd like to do here and finalize the design. 2, probably to polish it up and like clean up the wall and all that, you know, there's just those kinds of things. So we'll probably have 1 or 2 on that if we decide to change this, but I think we're going to have an episode dedicated to lighting, because I really need to iron out and fix the lighting and stuff where we walk around without our headlamps on and see how everything looks. And then I don't think I will put you guys through the slosh fest, slug, whatever you want to call it, trudge through the sludge, I guess is what I was thinking, of actually making you see all the wiring stuff in terms of what buttons do what and making sure all of the groups are attached to buttons and blah, 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 blah. That just would be boring. So I think there will be an episode designated to that, but I won't be showing a lot. It'll be a lot of like, you know, here's how it works now that it's all wired up type of thing. I do have some timer block stuff that we could implement, but like I said, I don't think I want to do like an episode on that because unless I ended up like doing a special episode of my programming series or something where we worked on programming all the different like airlocks and things like that. But so yeah, that's kind of my thought process, is we'll have maybe an episode or 2 on the airlock entryway bridge system, then probably a lighting episode, then like a hooking everything up to where buttons are in controls of things and grouping everything up and stuff to where we can use it, maybe doing some template, or not template, just stock dummy information on the LCD panels to give a layout of how we want it to look before I actually get that script implemented and all that. So that'd be probably what, like 3-4 episodes from now. Then I think the last couple are going to be testing. It's going to be optimizing our thrusters and gyroscopes, making sure we have enough of each so that we move right. Then it's like, how does it work on a planet? Can it enter? Can it re-enter? How does it work in a dogfight? Do the weapons blow themselves off? You know, landing speed, re-entry, you know, things of that nature, just to test everything out. But I think we're going to wrap things up here for this episode. In the meantime, I hope you all enjoyed. If you did, leave a like, and I'll see you all next time. Peace.